A good paper that combines theory and practice is going to have certain concepts that you develop, followed by case studies or illustrations to make those concepts clear. I'm really, really looking for good research to make sure that any case studies that appear actually support the thesis in question. Let's look at an example paper together. I can't put it up on the screen, unfortunately, for us because of the technology limitations here. But if you open up the sample business ethics paper, I'll tell you guys what this author is doing right and what she's doing wrong. This is a pretty good paper. It got an A-, if I remember right. Okay, I like her use of statistics in this paper. I think that it is succinct, it's concise, and it supports the overall thesis. I think the thesis itself is good. If you look at the end of the introduction, okay, is everybody pulled it up? Is everybody able to follow along? Her thesis is this last sentence: labor unions are harmful in the retail workplace because they cause companies to collapse or go bankrupt. They cause companies to lose money due to initiated public disturbances in the form of strikes, and they cause an increase in unemployment. Okay, a good thesis is going to strike a balance between being overly detailed and being insufficiently detailed. She has a thesis that offers 3 different steps. Okay, the 3 steps of her argument, and I think it works for that reason. Okay, she also makes good use of topic sentences in this paper. You should do so as well. A good topic sentence is going to provide your reader with immediate awareness of what's going on in the subsequent paragraph. And this will build trust between you and your reader. Labor unions cause companies to collapse or go bankrupt, which overall harms the economy. I wouldn't say that's a quality topic sentence, but it is a topic sentence. Okay, she then develops some concepts and follows that up with an example, the General Motors case. That's good. She could have been a little bit more concise. Definitely strive in your papers for precision and conciseness. Okay, conciseness means saying it in a way that doesn't beat around the bush, that is straightforward, that is clear, that is transparent. Okay, and she seems to do relatively well at that, although she could have done a little bit better. Her use of quotations is sparing but adequate. She could perhaps have used a little bit more in the way of quotations, but beware of quotation bloat in your own papers. Okay, that is frivolous use of quotations just for the sake of quotations. There is a fine line to strike there. Her second section is, I think, a little bit weaker than the first. I think she doesn't spend quite enough time developing the concepts here. Labor unions, she writes, that initiate strikes cause certain companies that are affected to lose an enormous amount of money. And she goes on to talk about that. I guess I would have liked to see a little bit greater detail and argumentation in her assertion of this argument. So why is it a bad thing that companies lose money? If a company is treating labor badly, wouldn't it be just punishment for it to lose money? I think she needed to develop at a little bit greater length her assertion that it is a bad thing that companies lose money as a result of strikes. But she does adequately provide detail about a UPS strike and a New York City Transit strike. So kudos to her for doing that. Your papers are going to be 1,800 words. 2,400 is fine. 1,700 is fine. 1,400 is not. Okay, neither is 3,000. If you can say it in 3,000, you can say it in 2,000. I guarantee you can. Just try it. Okay, her third section, labor unions constantly negotiate higher wages, which can lead to unemployment, I think is one of the more persuasive parts of her paper. In a discussion of this kind, it's important to remember the dynamics of who you're interacting with. If you're trying to persuade someone of the moral badness of labor unions or something like that as institutions, then it's not sufficient, I take it, just to say that labor unions are bad from the perspective of management. That's kind of non-controversial. Much better might be to say something like labor unions are bad from the perspective of labor, and provide your reader with evidence for that. And this third section actually attempts to do that. Her failure to do that previously is in part the reason why this was not fully an A paper, because the conceptual argumentation was not adequately developed. But she offers some nice expert quotation here. You may use personal interviews if you want as part of your papers. Don't make that an exclusive usage. In other words, use more sources than just personal interviews. And in fact, a variety of sources in general would be best. 5 to 7 is a suggested number, although more if you want to, for sure. Okay, and she finishes up with a more lengthy discussion of Walmart. Her use of practical case studies to illustrate her points is very strong, and throughout the paper, her conceptual emphasis is weaker. Much stronger conceptually is the other paper that I've put up there, the mortgage-backed securities investigation. That paper does a much better job of developing precisely what the conceptual difficulty is in the behavior of the mortgage-backed securities originators. Okay, so I commend that paper to you. Questions or comments about any of these things that I've been saying? Our writing is very personal to us. We often fall in love with our writing. Don't fall in love with your writing so much that you are unable to eliminate the parts of your writing that need to be eliminated. If it's not contributing to the overall advancement of your argument, cut it out. It doesn't matter whether it's a great turn of phrase. If it's not actually leading in a direction that is valuable for the demonstration of your thesis, then chop it off. You will find other phrases, you will create other ideas that you will also fall in love with and that contribute more directly to the advancement of your ideas. Okay? Excellent. Let us now take some time